Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast with Mike Trainer, Jay Jules, and John Depot. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the BBO NYG Podcast. I'm Mike, that's Jules, Vinny, and John. Nowhere to be found after that Monday night loss. I think they might have retired from the podcast, Jules.
I heard they were out trick-or-treating and they were dressed as Eagles fans.
Oh shit! Yeah, they went as Eagles fans. They're horrible, man. Poor guys, but man, maybe we'll see him next week after a nice victory over Washington. I hope.
Oh God, let's not gonna go there.
I want to get your thoughts on this. I was watching. Monday was a crazy night. We had the Knicks, Yankees. Poor Yanks. We had the Yankees and of course the Giant game on. So had all three TVs going. But of course, I know Yankees in the World Series, but dude, I'm the middle TV, the big screen. It's a Giants game. I have to have the Giants on. I'm like, I'm fucking crazy. So I'm watching the Giant game. I'm watching the Eli Manning Peyton broadcast. I love what they talk about like during the sports. So
they are good.
They're very good. And the very end of the game, first off, they had Bill Belichick and LT on during part of it, and it was fucking awesome. It was awesome to listen to those guys talk about the good old days. Man, but towards the end of the game, man, when Daniel Jones got strip sacked, TJ Watt came around the edge, right? So Eli Manning called out like a little protection. So they had the tight end helping on the left tackle, right? And Eli's like, "Oh, you gotta call the tight end motion to come over to help block TJ Watt on the right side." I'm like, listen, obviously Eli Manning's right. Whatever he says, it's right. But then I was thinking at the same time, I was like, okay, you want to take the tight end to leave the left tackle that's been a liability all game and all last week, and you want to help supposedly our best right tackle, Illuminor, that had a decent game against TJ Watt all day. So then, of course, the second Eli said it, I'm like, oh no, it's happening. TJ Watt just blew past Illuminor, strip sack, got the fumble, game over. Listen, I don't. My thought is like this. I'm like, we have a liability at left tackle. No matter what you're gonna do, you go from that side to that side. Daniel Jones probably would have got hit on the left side if they did move the tight end in motion to help block TJ Watt. What do you think?
So, a couple of things there. One, you're talking about their best defensive player and arguably one of the best rushes in the league, period, right? The guy was defensive player of the year last year or the year before. I mean, like, the guy's awesome, right? So, like, yes, in that situation, you got to think that he's going to take it to that extra gear, and you do have to worry about him. The second thing that I think of, because I did watch that clip of Eli kind of calling that out pre-snap and then going through it after it got blown up like it did.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, too, is that you also give the ability, if you do bring the tight end over to the right side, your quarterback who's right-handed to roll to the right side. So that this way he's rolling to his natural position side that he could throw from. And you might just design it in that fashion where if that guy catches him from the backside on the left tackle, that's fucking on him. You know what I'm trying to say? Where the left tackle can push him out of the way enough where if Jones is kind of in a quick read or a roll to the right, he has time to get out and fucking get out on the flank. That's just my opinion on that. I get where you're coming with that, where we probably would have needed a little help with the left tackle, but not for nothing. For a guy that came off of the 49ers practice squad and was kind of just thrown in there after like 3 days of practice, he didn't do that bad.
He had the lowest grade of all the left tackles in the NFL.
I get it, but you got to understand. Like, look at what he was being thrusted into. Let's see what he does this Sunday, right? Like, if he still fucking ended up with the lowest grade, then I don't know what the fuck we're doing. But it's just crazy, and that kind of sort of transitions into like some of the comments that I'm going to make about this game. And one thing that kind of stands out, and it honestly wasn't until, believe it or not, the Yankees game last night and seeing that disaster in that inning when they gave up the 500 runs and all that bullshit, right? Not to dwell too much on fucking a real series of baseball, but I just had to get some of it off my chest. But anyway, with all that said, it just kind of got me into thinking, right? And you know how we've been saying the last few years, oh my God, we're hit with the injury bug. Oh my God, we're hit with the injury bug, right? And it's like just so weird how teams that are doing bad are constantly hit with this injury bug, right? And yet teams that are doing better, yeah, sure, they get injuries. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of teams out there that have plenty of injuries that are doing very well. But like they manage to keep their stars off of that injury list, right? For one. And yet they kind of like work through it. And one of the things that kind of got into my head, and we're just going to talk injuries, there's other things I want to bring up too. But as far as injuries are concerned, like think about it. And I'm not saying Andrew Thomas did this, but it makes you think, right? Like if you're playing on a team that's 500 or a team that's, I don't know, let's say we were 4-2, and you have an injury on your foot that you could kind of play through, it's going to be painful. It might damage some of your career moving forward. You have a decision where you're like, fuck, man, we're 4-2. We're fighting for the division. We got a shot here. I'm going to play through that, right? Kind of like what Ohtani was doing for the Dodgers with his shoulder, right? Like if it was the regular season, dude probably misses like fucking a week or goes on the IL or some shit, right? But instead, it's the World Series. You have fucking 5 games left, and he toughens it out and he plays, right? How bad the shoulder injury was, it doesn't matter. But the point is that I think a lot of guys, when you know your team is just getting their heads bashed in week and week out, why are you going to risk it? Like Andrew Thomas wants to play another 10 years. He doesn't want to play 5 because he's fucking gutting it out on a fucking 2-win team. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of puts that into perspective when you start to think of things. And then my other point to that is that when you look at some of these calls that the Giants didn't receive, right? You had that first touchdown that was taken away that literally, Troy Aikman of all fucking people was losing his mind over that, believe it or not. And I'm talking about that illegal motion or whatever the fuck nonsense they called on it. They took the touchdown away. But it was the biggest bullshit. Like Troy Aikman was going livid about it. He was like, to the point where they had to have not one, but 2 of those rules analysts come on to give multiple breakdowns of what occurred. And like how they were like freeze framing shit.
Pick it up. Pick the flag up. Dude,
it was ridiculous. And like it was such a tic-tac call that like literally you'll see that called maybe once out of every fucking 10 times that fucking play goes like that. And it literally kind of got to that point where even Troy Aikman finally had to back off after they broke it down a second time for him and was like, you know what? I get it. I don't have to agree, but I'm not going to sit here and argue about it because that's just one of those calls that I'm surprised they even bothered to make.
Stupid.
You know what I mean? And then you look at the one where you running into the punter, right?
Come on, man. That was obvious. Clear as
day. And they didn't call that either, right? And it just goes to show you that when these teams are doing good versus teams that are doing bad, the referees focus in more on those type of plays and key players like a Patrick Mahomes, for example, right? Yep. And they'll focus in on those guys more just because that's the face of the NFL, just because that's the team that's winning. That's the team that's this. So when you're not doing good, all these things start to mount up. And the reason why I brought in the Yankees thing is that when you're doing good and you're winning, you don't notice these little plays. You don't notice these injuries. They don't phase you as much because you're fucking winning, right? When you're losing, you step back and you start breaking down everything because everything is so fucking dramatic. Just like in the game with Judge dropping a routine fucking fly ball in center field, and then, no one covering first base, but also Rizzo not even like attempting to run to the bag, right? The throw from third from fucking, Volpe to Jazz and the miscommunication there, even though one hopped into Jazz's glove, so it's as much his fault as it was Volpe's. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, those things get magnified when you're not doing good. If the Yankees weren't down 3-1 in that situation, and that inning went like it did, I guarantee you it doesn't snowball like it does.
Yeah,
because
right.
You don't start putting the pressure on yourself. You don't start overthinking, holy shit, Judge just dropped the ball. You're like, fuck it. The series is 2-2. He dropped the ball. We're going to make up for that shit. And everybody's back on the same page.
We did it in softball.
Exactly. It's insane how that happens. And I think that, unfortunately, this shit has snowballed over a 10-year fucking period for the New York Giants. If you just take out that one playoff year, it's fucking embarrassing. But then again, you can't. And that's where, like, it's like, fire Judge, fire Shane, fire this guy, fire. Bro, it's been going on for multiple fucking teams and multiple regimes and multiple GMs.
What's the answer? What's the answer?
It's not fucking just the coach, man. And Daniel Jones, right? Because it goes back to, I think it's like, what is it, like 2017 or some nonsense like that. And then obviously beyond with the losing, but like it's like 2008, whatever the fuck it is.
They ruined Eli Manning's last few years, for God's sake.
Exactly. And then they also said a stat on Monday night that Jones was the most hit or sacked quarterback in the last 6 years or something like that. He's the most sacked.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, like that ruins a player. He is not going to be safe. I've been saying this for the last couple of seasons.
David Carr.
Exactly. It's exactly David Carr. And for any of you who don't know who that is, go back and do some research on him and see how this guy came out of Fresno State, was the #1 pick for a starting franchise down in Houston. When they were starting their franchise, this was supposed to be their quarterback and everything else, and he didn't have the right line in place. And this dude got his ass kicked for a couple of seasons, and his career was done.
It was
And
so
that's what
bad.
happens.
It was
And
real bad.
I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but when you see that his clock is never correct, he doesn't really feel comfortable at times. He's running, he's throwing, he's missing reads, he's locking in the receivers. It's because of that type of shit. It doesn't matter how much coaching takes place. That's why I really truly believe that Jones needs to step away and be a backup for a year somewhere. And maybe he could revise his career like we've seen with Darnold and we've seen with Geno Smith and we've seen with fucking a few other quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield, for example.
Yeah.
He needs that. He needs a fresh start. He needs to be somewhere else. It's over. His run with the Giants is done. You know what I'm trying to say? Look, it just is, dude. Look,
a lot of it's done.
One of the things that's going around in the NFL, which is just creating just stupid controversy, and I swear people just get bored, is the whole benching of Anthony Richardson. I've said for weeks now that dude sucks. And maybe he doesn't. Maybe I shouldn't be that harsh of a critic, but he's not ready. How about that? He's not ready. You know what? When you're
stay in school, Jules. Stay in school. These kids come out way too early, man.
That's another thing. We'll come to the Colts and not automatically thrust it into the starting lineup.
You know what the problem?
For a season or two.
The problem is it's because the hype season every year. These agents get involved. The hype is real. They hype the kids up when they're not really that great. Everybody that's on social media, even like the people that actually like cover football, they get all fucking hyped up about these guys coming out. It doesn't work that way. Like, yo, stay in school, learn the game, and get it back to that because they're coming out way too early. They're going in. You get lucky if the guy like CJ Stroud comes along last year. Like, who is that now this year?
Right. No, listen, it doesn't happen often.
You know what I mean?
And that's the other thing, too. Like, they sometimes forget that these guys are 20, 21 years old, sometimes younger, coming into the league, playing against grown fucking men, 28, 29, 30 years old, that have been doing that professional level for 8, 9 years already.
Yes.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, that's been their job for the last fucking 8 years. And here comes this kid fresh out of college. Come on, it's overwhelming.
Or come from like a good program. Like, listen, this year, okay, it was Jaden Daniels. Good LSU program. My ex-coach from Notre Dame. I liked the kid. I said he was going to be good. And unfortunately, Washington got him now, but you know, that's the way it goes. But that only comes, it doesn't come that often. You know,
not even that, Mike. What is he doing so great? He's got 1,700 passing yards in 8 games with 7 passing touchdowns. If this was anybody else,
I know
for his head. Yes, he's only turned the ball over twice. I give him a lot of credit on that.
That's what it is.
Does not turn the ball over, which is awful.
That's what it is. Jules, another thing. He gets a lot of good like third downs. Like he keeps drives alive.
He's not even averaging a passing touchdown a game.
I know. That's what it is. You look at the stats. That's why, Jules, you hit it because
they're winning, but they're not winning because of him. Does he?
You hit it.
Does he know not how? Does he? Is he surprisingly ahead of where he should be as far as turnovers are concerned? Absolutely. Of course. But outside of that, dude, you take away that fluke fucking Hail Mary over the weekend.
I know.
Come on, dude. Like that.
And our catch.
We're not even having this conversation.
Different. Yeah, but you know what? Like I said, he keeps like third day. He keeps drives alive. But you know, another thing with him, like he's just like he's calm, collective, and he's just like, listen, that's the way football works. A play here determines the outcome of the game. And you don't. That's why a lot of people that look at stats, like stats are like a little sometimes meaningless because you can look at stats like I think you mentioned last week with Mahomes and Daniel Jones. But look in game situations where Mahomes came through on third down, kept the drive alive. That's why you can't look to like when people throw stats at my face, I just laugh at them. I'm like, dude, this is football. You can't look at just stats.
Bro,
not watch the game.
Not only that, with this whole era of analytics, there are so many additional stats now that they fucking find. Where there's probably 50 stats on a player at this point, right? And you could literally find 3 or 4 that could fit any narrative that you want to put. Period. Stop. Remember how a couple of years ago, Daniel Jones is the best fucking deep ball passer of a yard passed over 25 yards on third down. And I'm like, come on, dude, really?
I said that.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I know you did. But you know what I mean? Like, but like you can literally find anything to fit your narrative at this point in time, right? And the reality is this, right? When a team is winning, everything looks great. When a team is losing, everything is exposed. And that's exactly what's been going on for the New York Giants. We have not been winning games, so everything gets exposed. All of a sudden now, because look, what was it? The Eagles game, they were on their second left tackle. We had like fucking 8 sacks against Jalen Hurts or whatever the fuck it was, 6 or 7. You know what I mean? Like, but we still lost the game by a lot. You know what I mean? But like, you know what? That doesn't stand out as much because fucking they won and they were winning good. And they were running the ball down our fucking throats that game, right?
So Are we leading the league in stats and sacks?
We're absolutely leading the league. We are. That's the other crazy thing.
Fucking crazy
to be a fucking 2-win team 8 games into the season and lead the NFL in sacks. What the fuck, man?
It's crazy.
That doesn't make sense.
But yeah, you watch the offense. You watch the offense. It's like pulling teeth. You're just like, come on. It's like you're like begging them to when you're watching the games, just please, God. But when you look at it, Jules, like what? Honestly, besides like neighbors, like what else do we have that team's got to worry about? Like
listen, Slayton's been stepping up. Wendell's been good. When you're missing, like, and again, here we go, right? So I'm going to talk about that little that down the sideline route that he overshot Slayton and went over his head. Right, that pass where he was wide open. If he would have hit him right on the break and he would have threw a line drive, because even Troy Aikman was saying it.
Yeah,
he's like, shit, you got to hit him on a line drive on that one. You got to kind of almost shorten him up a little bit so that he slows down and catch it, kind of almost like a back shoulder type thing, but like a little bit more with a little more oomph on the ball. You know what? That gets highlighted and blown up. Why? Because we didn't execute. We were losing. So now every dramatic play is, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Dude, Tracy, before the concussion, was fucking carving them up, man. And that's one of the best run defenses in the league. Yeah. But of course, it goes to the waistline, right? He gets a concussion. We're not the same, right? Like I said, it's amazing how when a team is down and a team is losing, how much these little things become exposed and blow up into big things. And that's where my whole analogy with the Yankee game comes into play. If the Yankees were in a tied series or they were up 3-1, and that type of inning would have, first of all, probably never have happened because it's not as magnitude. Oh my God, Judge just dropped an easy pet ball. It would have been like, so what? Let's keep moving. Right. Mm-hmm. But because everybody's all nerve and you need this game and there's pressure and blah, blah, blah. It just amplifies, man.
Every Giant game is magnified.
And that to me is the state of the Giants in a nutshell. There's nothing else there. That's why I said, look, sure, we can go out and we probably will. And who knows what happens this year? It'll definitely most likely happen next year. We could go fire Judge. We could go fire us, Judge. Sorry, a little bit of a
yeah.
A little bit of Yankee still there. A little Yankee hangover on that one. But
at least that
you can go fire Dable. You can go fire, I meant to say Joe Shane, but you can go do all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't make it could help, but it might not help. I mean, you're just going to kind of recycling in this shit. And look, obviously, we're doing this on a Thursday, and the Thursday night game's going to kick off soon. We're going to get to the picks and everything else. But let's take the Jets, for example. I mean, here's the team that was supposedly a quarterback away, built for the Super Bowl. They got one of the best defenses in the league. Holy shit, they go and get Devontae Adams. He still got it. He's on season 2 in the tank. Reunite him and Rodgers. And they haven't won a fucking game yet. They have the same record as the New York Giants. They're favored tonight for some odd reason. We'll get into that in a minute. Yep. But, it's just crazy how this type of shit works and how these things get blown up when you're losing. When you're winning, everything's great, man.
Yeah, it really is.
Fucking problem in the world, bro. And as soon as you fucking lose, everything's amplified. And honestly, that's been the story of the Giants, unfortunately, for the last 10 years. And man, I don't know what the real cure is to break that. But clearly, that type of shit needs to be broken down a little bit less. Maybe don't overemphasize, oh, look at this. There was 3 guys open and Joe's locked in on this guy. So what he did. So what he fucking did. You know what? There was one play in that Monday night game where Slayton broke free on his guy on that man press, and he was actually more open, but it was a quick timing throw, and he went to Neighbors. And he kind of tried to do a back throw to Neighbors, and it missed. Dude, you're going to go to your number 1 guy when you have that option. Like, there's no fucking 2 ways about it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what everybody does in the period stop, and it just happens, like I said, it just gets blown up. The more you lose, the more it gets blown up. And now
we're in New York.
We're recycling through. And then you want to put New York into it, where everything gets blown up 10 times as much.
It's too much. And then the only thing I would recommend is leaving the Giant game and we're going to the picks now. Maybe we'll just start like a 2 tight end set and we'll just help our left and right tackle. I don't fucking know. Maybe get a fullback too. Have everybody back there to protect this kid because it's just really bad. When I'm watching other teams, like even watching the Monday night game, you're watching Russell Wilson, which the Steelers we're supposed to have like the worst offensive line. Russell Wilson's just back there. I granted we got a few sacks, but a lot of times, but a lot of times he just has a nice clear pocket, plenty of time to go deep, and he takes a shot to go deep. It's just the way it is, man. But listen, moving on. It's pick time. We got to run through these picks real quick. Got about 30 minutes to do it. The first game starts now in about 45 minutes. Jets are the favorites by on here 1.5 against Houston. I think they want to put like 3.
Yeah, well, it's currently at like 2.5. I guess what site you use is going to matter as well. But like, dude, that's ridiculous.
Why?
You know what I mean?
Diggs got hurt, and CJ Stroud is not great on the road. His numbers are
still 6-2.
Yeah.
He's still 6-2 against a team. Like, look, I can see this game being very close. And
I'm betting the
coming
Jets
down to the wire. And I know you're fucking really feeling the Jets. And Vegas is begging you to fucking bet Houston. And for some reason, they're not. Because that line keeps changing in favor of fucking people taking the Jets. I get it's a do or die game for the Jets. Look,
but it's home. It's a short weekend. It's home, Jules. That's what it is. It's like 95% the home team usually wins.
But before week 7 of the NFL season last year, you didn't even know who Nico Collins was.
No.
All right. And before Tank Dell got hurt, Tank Dell was CJ Stroud's fucking guy. All right.
Yep.
Tank is fine. He's ready to roll. Schultz is healthy, and Mix has been running a bunch. Why the fuck am I getting on the Jets? I don't get it, dude. I am not. I don't know if I'm necessarily gonna fuck with this game, to be honest with you. But like at the same time, bro, like, no, man, the Jets haven't shown me fucking shit to fucking have any confidence in them.
All right, moving on. Washington is coming to New York. The past 2 weeks, I said Philly would probably kill us. Pittsburgh would be a problem. So I was honest. And I'll be honest again with this game. I actually think we win, and we win outright. Washington is favored by 3.5. We're getting points. I mean, it's a division game. You know what I mean?
I'll take the points because, like, if the Giants don't clean themselves up and they lose another divisional game, what do you think is going to happen? You know what I mean? Like, what's going to fucking happen? Like, are you really going to continue fucking letting Dable call plays and run this team and run this offense? I mean, could you imagine if we only put up, like, say, fucking 13 points against Washington?
Ugh.
You know what I mean? Like, it's possible.
I see guys calling for Kafka to get his job back.
For real, dude. Like, it's crazy. Like, he's not doing much, and I get it. Maybe a good portion of that is Daniel Jones. It could be. It really could be. I'm starting to really have to, like, believe that that's the problem, right?
Who else do you put in there?
I don't want to say everything else needs to fucking fall apart. I'm tired of blowing it up.
We all know what Drew Lock is. He was a disaster when he filled in.
Yeah, we don't have a capable backup.
Where do we go from there? So
we're in a position where we don't have a capable backup. I'm hoping that I got to do a little more research, and I'll start to do it over the next couple of weeks because what the fuck else are we going to talk about? But like literally, like what if everybody wants this quarterback to come in? I want, and does not have to be Daniel Jones. I don't give a fuck, but I want a veteran quarterback here first. Even if that veteran quarterback has to start the first 3 or 4 games of the season next year, I want that presence here. I don't want to have to take a quarterback who knows where we end up picking and then having to fucking force him right into the fucking game action gate week 1.
We did that with Eli, with Kurt Warner.
Correct. Exactly. And look at how that turned out. Yeah. And even Eli took a while to get started, right? I want something more of a situation where we have like a Pat Mahomes where he sits for the season. Maybe not Jordan Love to the full extent where he sat for like 4, I think. You know what I mean? Somewhere in between that sweet spot would be nice. But I don't want to bring in a quarterback, be forced to fucking start him. I mean, look at Drake May. He sat for a month of the season. He came in. He's been doing pretty fucking good. All right. Like with that New England team. I mean, the guy's been putting up numbers. I think he's got more touchdown passes than Jaden Daniels already. Might have more interceptions, of course, but he's got more touchdowns in less games. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Bo Nix has got more touchdowns than fucking Jaden Daniels.
I like
right? Like just to name a few of these guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna stop ranting about that shit.
Yeah. Oh well. Let's save that for next week. Moving on. Chargers, they're -1.5 against the new Cleveland Browns. I told you Cleveland last week, going against Baltimore with Jameis Winston.
Now listen, I'm glad you told me that because I was flirting with the idea of taking them in a survivor pick. And then I was like, nah.
Yeah, knocked a lot of people out.
Different than everybody, and I went with Denver. All right, but yeah.
Knocked a lot of motherfuckers out. I actually like, this is a tough game. Chargers got to come East and play almost in Ohio. I got to go with Cleveland again, man. They're at home. They look pretty good with Winston on there. I got to say they ran the ball well. I like it.
I'll say one thing. This is definitely an
under. Under first quarter. That might be a good bet to take.
You know what? I think Cleveland shot there low, and I like the Chargers, man. I'll be honest with you. I know we're doing a lot of disagreeing here. They're playing well. They need this game if they want to stay relevant, right? In the AFC West. Yeah, I think there's more of an emphasis for them. I'm not sold on Nick Chubb. I don't know if Jerome Ford is healthy. Yes, Cedric Tillman now, right? He's been a fucking big star here. And, it kind of goes back to where, listen, if you recall, and I mentioned this the other day, Cedric Tillman was Jalen Hyatt's fucking counterpart in Tennessee. And they were both being boisted up as the two top receivers coming out of there. And some people said Tillman was better. And now he looks like he might be, right, than Jalen Hyatt. So, it kind of sucks because, maybe we fucked up with that one there. But anyhow, you know what? I'm still not buying it. Jerry Jeudy, he's a fucking boss.
I know. What the hell happened to him?
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. Like, that guy just fucking bitches and complains. I think that they showed up. No one was expecting them to do what they did. There was no game footage or nothing like that. Now San Diego saw what they can do, and they have a week to prepare. And I'm telling you, that dude, he might not be this year, but give that guy another year or two. The one that's a defensive coordinator that Harbaugh actually brought with him from Michigan. He brought that dude for a reason. That guy's going to be a star in the NFL at some point in time, and you're going to see that he's got that defense buying in and shit, man. Like I said, it's going to be a low scoring affair. It's going to be tight. Anytime it's low scoring, it's always tight. But I see them winning this game.
All right, moving on. Ooh, I love this one. In Buffalo Bills -6.5 against Miami. Give me the Bills. Miami can't never go up there in Buffalo and play good. Yeah. Remember the playoff game last year? They just got demolished.
Yeah,
Bills.
I mean, it does suck that they lost, and they're really going to be desperate. So this is going to be Miami's best shot. You know what I mean? Like, and that 6 points kind of got me a little like, where I could kind of see it being tight, but Buffalo wins. I mean, who fucking kidding? You know what I mean?
Let's not kid ourselves. All right, moving on. Atlanta. Falcons are -2.5 against Dallas. Dallas is so off this year, but Atlanta's not that great either. Jules, I don't know, man.
What's funny about this one? So I sent out a meme. I don't know if I sent it in our group chat, but I was definitely sending it out to other Cowboy fans. And it was like a voiced over AI thing of Dak Prescott giving a speech, like a rally speech. And he's like, basically, and I'm just going to summarize it. He's like, all right, who's with me? We're going to make this game really close, but we're still going to lose, but we're going to go back. And like,
fucking AI, man.
This whole rant of like fucking just like him basically saying how we're going to make it close, but we're still going to lose in the end. And if you look at that game, I started sitting there and I like for fantasy, I fucking needed it because I had the fucking kicker for San Francisco or whatever the fuck I had. Or I had somebody where it was like a kicker versus something, right? And, I had Kittle and he had fucking CeeDee Lamb. And all of a sudden, CeeDee Lamb starts going off. And I'm like, slow the fuck down, dude. You know what I mean? Like, so the funny shit is the point of this is that Atlanta and Dallas I've seen do this a lot, where like they look like they're down on the mat, and then all of a sudden they just pick it up in the fourth quarter and just start putting up points and scoring fast. This is going to be one of those games where I can see fucking it being a shootout almost.
Yeah.
But it's in Atlanta. Oh God, man, I can't believe I'm even saying this. I like the Dirty Birds.
Really? I don't know.
I think man. Yeah. Dallas has done nothing to show me that they deserve me to fucking pick them.
You know what I do like in that game? Probably the over.
Yeah, I do too.
In that game,
I definitely like the over. I could see both quarterbacks throwing for over 300 yards.
Yeah.
Here comes some parlays now.
Might happen. All right, next game, the Saints. They're -6.5 in Carolina. I think Derek Carr's back.
Possibly.
This week. If he's back. Question. Then I probably got to take the Saints because Carolina just looked like they gave up or just they're not talented.
Yeah, Carolina's bad, dude. They're really bad. I mean, Chris Olave's back from concussion. He looked great last week. Like I said, I'm just trying to look up Carr right now. Let me just see what they're currently saying. He's still questionable. He was a limited participant today in practice. I think he's going to go. I think you're right. Listen, Carolina's just they're lost this year, bro.
They're fucking lost.
I got to go fucking Saints.
All right. Yep. Moving on. Ooh, I like this game. Tennessee in Tennessee. They're -3.5 against New England. Give me the Titans for a
Mason
sub.
Rudolph. Oh,
Their defense though is pretty legit, you know. But
I'll tell you, this is
New England stinks.
they both stink.
They
You're
both
really gonna
stink.
say the Tennessee Titans are any good?
But compared to New England, I'm like Tennessee got that defense where they're gonna get to the quarterback in this game.
Oh, what's the spread?
3.5.
Yeah, see, it's that half I don't like. And Tennessee's 3.5 point favorite, right?
Hmm.
It's that half I don't like. I don't like the half at all. Because can I see them winning by a field goal? Absolutely. You know what I mean? But like 2017, Tennessee. Yeah, now you lost by the half. But all right, we can roll with Tennessee, but I don't like that game at all.
All right, moving on. Ooh, Cincinnati in Cincinnati. They're -7.5 against Vegas. Something's weird about this game. I do not like Cincinnati at all this year. Give me Vegas getting the points.
Mm.
Cincy's,
Dude, this is to
Cincy's
me,
garbage too.
This Cincinnati season. If they fuck around and keep the Raiders in this shit, they're playing with fire and they can fucking blow their entire season.
Dude, they look bad. They look
I know
so
they have.
bad.
I know they have, but I think they have to get right in this game. They have to get right in this game at home against a weaker opponent coming from East Coast, almost East Coast, West Coast type of thing. Close enough, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You want to take the points, take them, but man, I'm a little cautious on that.
I had the option this week of taking Cincinnati for my survivor pick, but I just can't do it, man. They're just too up and
Well, I
down.
don't know if you want to take them. I hear you there because they are too unpredictable. But that's the thing. I think they're either going to wipe the floor with the Raiders or they're going to be in a dogfight and they can blow it. You know what I mean? Like that. That's just it. I don't see it. Right? Yeah. Could they like sneak it out? Yes. But most likely, if they're in that situation, they could lose too. Right. And like it's either that or they're just going to come in. Burrow's going to throw for 400 yards. Chase is going to have 2 touchdowns, and they're just going to fucking blow the doors off. Key thing there is if Higgins plays or not. Because if you look at their record with and without Higgins, believe it or not, it is fucking kind of like a huge difference with their win-loss total. Because when Higgins is out, they seem to lose all the time. And he was out last week.
Yeah, he
so
was.
That's kind of what happened there. So if he's in, I kind of like Cincinnati. But since we don't know the status of that on Thursday night,
we don't.
We'll take the points.
All right, moving on. Baltimore, they're 9.5-point favorites against Denver. A good defensive team. Baltimore's going against another good defensive team. Baltimore's pass defense is horrible. I think that's a lot of points, man. Do you think the Ravens blow them out?
No.
Right?
I don't. I mean, if they do, I'll be like, fuck. But that Denver defense is good.
They are good.
We're gonna see how good that Denver defense really is. Because if they could contain this offense, especially that they just traded for Deontay Johnson. I don't know if he's playing or not, but they just traded for Deontay Johnson, the Ravens. So when they get him going, bro, that offense is going to be something to fuck with. But for this week,
how'd I miss that?
What? I keep going back and forth. Where I'm like, does Denver really get the doors blown off? Like they could.
They're both 5-3.
I know. I got to take the points here.
Yeah, got to. Definitely got to. All right. Moving on, Arizona and the Bears. It's in Arizona. Basically, it's a pick. So, I mean, Arizona screwed me last week. I needed Miami to win. They had the game the whole day. Almost hit a parlay for 1,700, and they fucking blew it. That was earlier in the day. I came back later on, but Arizona, God, I don't know, man. I'll take the home team, you know?
The way I look at this is that if you lose from that bullshit Hail Mary like they did, one or two things happen. Either you fall apart because you realize that they had that one guy who was fucking off and talking shit to the crowd. I mean, what are you doing, you fucking moron? You can't wait an extra fucking 30 seconds to do that. Because literally, you break up that Hail Mary, you go over and you can pop all the shit you want. Game's over, you win, you dummy. And instead, now he's running across the field back into the play like a fool. All right? If they don't rebound from that and go in Arizona and win, they're in a lot of fucking trouble. And to me, if the team is what they say they are and they're a fucking halfway decent team and you're trailing in that NFC North, which is a fucking really competitive division this season, you got to fucking win this game. I go Bears. They have to win this game. This to me is a must win in the middle of the season for the Bears. I think that overwhelms what fucking little midget can fucking do.
All right, moving on. In Philly's -7.5 against Jacksonville. I actually like Philly. Unfortunately, Jacksonville. I think they lost Kirk to an injury.
They lost Kirk. Gabe Davis is questionable. I think fucking Evan Ingram is out. Like, they're a fucking disaster. Who knows if ETN is playing? Like, they're all over the fucking place. Nah, give me the Eagles all day. Fucking
Yeah.
It kills me to say it.
I wish I could take them in Survivor, but I already took them a couple weeks ago.
Ooh, I don't know if I did or didn't. I got to double check in that league.
That might be a good one. The next game, Detroit, man. This is a weird one. Detroit's minus 3.5 in Green Bay. Love, I know, is banged up. I don't know if he's playing or not.
That's the key.
Dude, I mean, but it's a weird line. You would think, like, Detroit might be favored by more than that, especially after what they were doing. But don't forget, Tennessee, they played last week, and they got most of their points on like punt returns, which was crazy. Special teams was ridiculous against Tennessee last week. I want to take Detroit because, but Green Bay at home, man, it's got to come down to the wire, right?
My point is if Love plays, I like Green Bay. If Malik plays, I like fucking Detroit. Wow, that's it. Period. Stop.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
And currently, just checking, he was limited in practice today. It's really going to come down to tomorrow's practice to decide whether or not Love can go. I don't give a fuck what idiots are saying. Oh, Malik is good. He's better than Daniel Jones. And it's like, no, he's really not. He's just crazy. He's not. Maybe if Malik stays in Green Bay for a couple of seasons and learns on the Love and LaFleur and these guys, maybe he could develop. Sure. But he's not there right now. He's not ready. He's not ready to be an every fucking week starter. He's just not.
Right.
And if that's the case and he gets thrown to the fucking Lions, he's not keeping up. And they're going to roll.
He won't be able. Yeah, you're right. He won't be able to keep up at all.
At all, bro.
Love could keep up. He can't. Yeah. All right. I agree with that. All right. Next game, the Rams. I love the Rams. They're minus 1.5 in Seattle, but Rams are back, man. They got their offense back. They're going to put up points. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fuck it, Rams.
You're gonna make a run, Jules. Watch the Rams making a run and get right back into it,
bro. They're looking at it too with San Francisco being down like they are. They're at 3 wins. Seattle's at 4 wins. They're like right in the mix. That West is upside down, which we did not expect. Yeah, they could literally jump right back into the discussion of winning that division with a win. They already beat fucking San Fran this season. Like, dude,
right.
Yeah, no, 100%. I like the Rams in this one.
This is the parlay or tease, Philly and the Rams for the 4 o'clock games. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be betting hard on come Sunday. This is the pick I'm doing for Survivor. In Minnesota, they're favored by 5.5 against Indy. We talked about AR getting benched, but it's Flacco. We've seen what Minnesota's defense have done to quarterbacks pretty much all year. Flacco's not mobile. He's gonna get killed behind there. They're not going to be able to keep up with Minnesota. That's the Sunday night game. Give me the Vikings all day. My Survivor pick.
I think it's going to be a little closer than you think, but because it's a weird spread. So kind of makes me think that Minnesota wins by like a touchdown type of thing. Where it's, trust me, I think like, you know what, they still and Jonathan Taylor's back. They still have a decent offense under Flacco. It's not bad. He gets the ball out to these receivers. They're not terrible. Michael Pittman's good. Josh Downs is good. That's why I said I think it's going to be closer than you think. And honestly, that 46.5 under over, I kind of like the over.
Really?
I could see that being like somewhere in the neighborhood, like a 27, 21 type game or 20, maybe so they cover 31, 24. But I see it kind of being a high scoring like that. But yeah, I mean, Minnesota back-to-back losses, they got to pull this out. They got to right the ship at home.
Yeah, they're home.
They have to.
Yeah, Colts, listen, I like how the Colts play. They play hard. They got a decent defense, but I think Minnesota is just too good for them. Unless Sam Darnold decides to have the worst day of his life and throw 10 interceptions, that's always
he turns back. He reverts back to he was on the Jets. Sure.
So let's hope him and Justin Jefferson eats for his sake. Because it's only in my Survivor pool, dude. It's 41 people left out of 200. Ooh. And it's a 200,000 final, which is ridiculous. So getting closer, man. So we'll see.
How many you said again? 40?
41.
Man, listen,
I'm the one.
You can get that number in half. You got to start thinking about fucking, maybe chopping at some point, right? You get down to 20, 200,000.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's how it usually gets.
How fucking greedy you got to get here?
People have split it around 4 or 5.
Yeah, I know.
In the past. So we'll see when it gets down there.
Listen, all I know is if I get under 15 and I'm around 10, I'm gonna be the most vocalist motherfucker in that thing, trying to get that shit split up.
Word up.
Oh, give me 20 fucking grand. I'm good with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know,
I get it.
I don't need to be greedy. Hey,
Trust me, I
fuck
get
that.
it. All right, last game, Monday night game in Kansas City. Kansas City's favored by 8.5 against Tampa. Give me Tampa, man, with the points. It's a Monday night game. It's got to be close, right?
I would have said that until I saw Tampa lose this past weekend, and I took them in a bet, and they got their asses kicked by Atlanta for a second time. Yes, Kate Otten stepped up. Yes, their rushing attack is decent. Yes, Baker still had a good game, but they're not there. Kansas City, come on, who's beating them? No one's beating them. They're going undefeated. They're gonna three-peat, and that's it. Just understand how fixed fucking sports are and how disgusting it is. The NFL thinks that this is a good thing to fucking brand, and they're going for it. So no. Now I'm just going to pick Kansas City every fucking week.
All right. That's it. That is a wrap.
Wrap that shit up.
Well,
before I don't want to fucking tonight, we're going to keep it short. I'm not going to go into some rant because I'm starting to really get a bad taste in my mouth for professional sports in general with how it's so obvious how many narratives are created and how much that they persuade things to take place in a game that help another team out. That's it. It is. And the more and more it's going that way. I mean, you can take baseball, for example, with the World Series just ending this way. The MLB was so fucking thirsty to attract that market out in Japan. And now they have it. Playing games out there to start the fucking season the last couple of years. Now with the World Series and a megastar in Ohtani. Like, it's just never ending with the Kansas City Chiefs and then pulling in the draw of the Swifties. And now the fucking Chiefs with this possible three-peat and maybe even an undefeated season, right? It's just what they think fucking sells. And does it? Probably makes more money for them. But what it hurts is us, the regular fans, the people that do podcasts, the people that listen to these podcasts, the people that are on social media talking about their teams, the people that have season tickets. Man, it's fucking frustrating for us to have to sit through and watch this shit over and over and over again and it being this fucking able to determine shit. So, yeah, like I'm picking Kansas City all the time. Three-peat, Swifty. We'll see you next week and they'll still be undefeated. Talk to you then. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Go Giants.